Justice Watchers, before we begin, I want to make this absolutely clear. The following broadcast contains public domain courtroom footage, commentary, and legal analysis. This content is presented under the fair use doctrine as defined by 17 U.S.C. 107 and is protected by multiple Supreme Court rulings, which you see below. This stream is transformative, educational, and journalistic in nature. It includes original commentary, trial breakdowns, legal interpretation, and critical analysis, not raw redistribution. We do not claim ownership over any public domain footage, and all use is strictly within legal bounds. If you're watching this content, you're engaging in a protected, transformative experience, grounded in law, never in speculation. And if anyone has a problem with that, take it up with Campbell, Brady, Miranda, and Irvin. Remember, guys, justice always works better when we watch. So keep watching. See you in the courtroom.
So, sir, we were just talking about the prior report and how it talked about reported location inconsistencies. Do you remember us talking about that?
Yes.
And you, in fact, drafted an email that was sent back on May 1st making that same assertion, correct?
I'd have to look at the date. I don't recall.
Oh, Jack 352 relevance. Can we please approach?
Yes. Awkward. Sorry, folks. Should have covered the screen, right? Back on record. Hey, listen, we had a conversation sidebar trying to clarify the scope of examination. So I'll try to give some direction, and the objection is noted and overruled at this point. Go ahead.
Beginning with the mark for identification purposes, People's 91E, is that the email in which you made that prior assertion?
Yes.
fair and accurate copy of that?
It appears to be, yes.
Now, regarding Mr. Kamad's report, you previously indicated in an email that Mr. Kamada used invalid data to make his report. Do you remember making that assertion?
Yes, that was my understanding at the time, and after reading his testimony, I realized he did not use that data.
And so I'm handing you with the Marcus Peoples 91D. And on page 3, is that the email in which you make the assertion that Mr. Kamada used unreliable information?
Yes.
Okay, and so that's not correct. He did in fact use reliable information.
Wait, can you say that question again?
Sorry.
He's already said that he didn't find any mistakes in Kamada's report.
And so this is talking about, you indicated that you believe Mr. Kamada used Wi-Fi location data and not native location data, correct?
Yeah, that was my understanding at the time. It's since been cleared up, and I realized he did not do that.
But at the time you had Mr. Kamada's report, correct?
Correct.
And it specifically said the exact file path of the location data that he used, correct?
He said he didn't say that was the only location data that he used. So there was I don't recall the exact wording that he used, but I think he said something along the lines of most or majority, or I don't recall the exact wording, but I wasn't clear based on his report that that was the exclusive source of location data. After his testimony, I realized that it was the exclusive source, and I agreed with that location as being correct.
I'm handing you with the mark for identification purposes of Peoples 45D. Can you take a look at that, please?
Yes. Yes, this is it.
So this is Mr. McConaughey's report.
Yes, it was primary source. Excuse me, that was the language I was looking for.
And so he didn't make any indication that he used any source other than native location data.
Well, he said primary source, not exclusive source. And I said later, this got cleared up, and I realized that was the exclusive source of location data.
And so going back to the screen to 44B, this Wi-Fi location data that you were indicating that you believe Mr. Kamada was using, this is that kind of Wi-Fi image on the map that we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah, I believed he was, and turns out he was not using that data.
Can we put this on the screen?
Object 352, Your Honor.
Sustained. We're done. We're not going through Wi-Fi data that nobody relied on. So keep moving to things that people relied on.
Well, the Wi-Fi data is reliable for location, correct?
Sustained.
Does the Wi-Fi location data show locations different than what's indicated in your report?
Objection 352.
Sustained. Counsel, my understanding is Mr. Kamada didn't rely on Wi-Fi data.
Correct.
Okay, the objection is sustained. Your own witness didn't rely on it.
Sir, and so you subsequently wrote an email and included on it was an attached image showing a map of location data continuous to mark for Peoples 91A. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
Object 352, Your Honor.
Well, I don't know what it is yet.
Same issue.
What's the document?
An image prepared by Mr. Chase.
I gotta get more information before I can roll an objection.
All right, sir, and we talked just briefly about the email that you sent on May 6th. Was this an attachment to the email that you sent on May 6th?
It was an attachment to an email. I don't recall what the date was, but yes, I created that image, and I did send it to defense counsel.
You still have the emails in front of you?
I have the image from May, or the email from May 1st in front of me.
Handing you 91B. And is that an image that you sent with location data from Sycamore Park from that?
Objection 352.
We're back to that issue, sustained. You don't need to answer.
Any approach?
We had a conversation about this. I understand the location data from two experts now as to Sycamore Park. And any additional information is confusing to the jury. and that's classic grounds for a 352 ruling.
May we approach?
Sure. Yeah, briefly. Off the record. Back on the record. The last objection is the same.
Sir, on direct, you testified about Gray Key. What's Gray Key?
Gray Key is a forensics tool sold exclusively to law enforcement that extracts data from cell phones.
Is there anything about Gray Key that makes it an unreliable tool?
Nothing that I know of. It's only law enforcement only, so I personally cannot test it, but it is widely used by law enforcement for extracting data.
All right, so you talked about power cycle data from May 2nd, and you talked about all these power on events. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And could those come from restarts of the device?
They could be restarts. There's no power off, though, which still seems a little odd. So I'm not quite sure what would cause only power on and no power off, other than something like the use of a forensics tool that might be attempting to extract data from the device.
And so I have here people's 45. Wait, this on the screen.
45 what?
45.
Okay, so you've labeled, so 45 without an A or B or any lettering.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and this was the, okay, go ahead.
And so, sir, this is the power on, power off log that Mr. Kamada testified. And have you seen this log before?
I have, yes.
And so you talked about Gray Key and the effect that it might have on power on and power off times. And so I'm going to ask you specifically about this power off event on April 27th at 21 minutes after midnight. Do you have any reason to believe that this power off event is unreliable in any way?
I do not.
And what about these two events on May 2nd? Do you have any reason to believe that those are unreliable?
I wouldn't rely on them because of that power on events. So without doing testing, I wouldn't want to state whether those are reliable or not.
But when you did your initial report, you didn't limit yourself to the phone extraction data. You also looked at cell tower data, correct?
Objection, else it's who? No, overrule.
I initially looked at it, yes.
And so cell tower data would give us another indication as to whether these times were reliable, correct?
Potentially.
Right, because when a phone talks to a cell tower, it's sending data back and forth to the tower continuously to do things like check for new emails and check for app updates and things like that, correct?
Correct.
And so we can see from the cell tower log when the phone is communicating with the tower, and then we can see times when there's no communication with the tower, correct?
Yes.
And so if there's no communication with the tower during certain periods, then that would be consistent with these being accurate power off events, correct?
Consistent, yes.
Well, if the phone is off, can it talk to the tower?
Cannot.
And so you've reviewed these records before, correct?
Which records are you referring to?
The AT&T records?
Yes, I have.
So I'm handing you what's been marked as People's 91F. Could you take a look at this for me, please? And so for those records, they're in UTC as well, correct?
They are, yes.
So that's 7 hours ahead of Pacific time.
Correct.
And so for that, does that show any data communications between the tower and the phone after about 3:24 p.m. on May 2nd?
Give me one moment while I look. It does not on. Sorry, one moment. No, it does not on this document.
All right. When does it show after 3:24 p.m. that data transmissions with the tower resume?
Sorry, I have to do the conversions here. Give me a moment.
Well, let me sharpen the previous question. When prior to 3:24 p.m., what's the last time you see data moving to the tower or between the tower?
Sorry, hold on. I'm trying to do mental math here and make sure I've got the times right since I'm converting from 24-hour clock and UTC to make sure I get this right.
UTC makes it difficult, I understand.
Yep. I'm sorry, can you repeat your question again? Which I'm looking at.
By the cell tower logs, when on May 2nd, what's the latest transmission prior to 3:24 p.m.?
Okay, the latest transmission prior to 3:24. All right, looking at this, assuming I just did my math right, we have data usage UTC would be 21:43 p.m., which would be, I think, 3 p.m. if I did that right.
All right, so this 21, so, may I retrieve the exhibit again?
Okay.
So this is Peoples 91F, and so from this log, we have a transmission on May 2nd at 21:43 and 39 seconds, correct?
Correct.
So 21:43, that transmission lasts 40 minutes and 22 seconds, correct?
Correct.
So if we add 44 minutes to 21:43,
Yes.
that gets us to 22:27, correct?
I'll trust your math on that. It sounds right.
Right. So this is all consistent with those shutdown times, right? There's nothing in this cell phone log that's transmitting when the shutdown log by Mr. Kamada says the phone is off, right?
I believe so.
Right. In fact, when we have this restart time of 2020 on 5/2, that's exactly when the data on the cell phone tower record starts up again, right?
I believe so.
So I'm going to return to you 91F. And so for the next shutdown event that we have on May 2nd, we also have data transmissions between the tower and Mr. Dominguez's cell phone stopping right at this time of 8:56 p.m., right?
Yes.
And so then we have data resuming at 8:57 on May 2nd again, per the tower logs, correct?
Let's see. So the tower log resumes. Let's see. It's 3:21 UTC, which I believe is 8:21. No, or is that 9:21? Sorry. This is why I always try to convert to one time zone, so I don't have to do this in my head on the stand.
So it's 3:21 a.m. UTC, right?
Correct. Yes.
And how long does that transmission last?
That one is 35 minutes and 14 seconds.
So that takes us to 3:56 p.m., right? Or sorry, 3:56 a.m.
Yes.
And when we subtract 7 hours, that makes it 8:56 correct?
Yes.
And so the tower data is resuming right around the same time as the phone is reporting its power on again, correct?
This is showing the data is ending at that time.
Understood. Sorry. So it's ending at this time at 2056.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So these logs match the tower logs perfectly.
Yes.
Last, I just want to make sure that this power off event here, April 28th, 2023 at 21 a.m., is that also supported by the tower logs?
Give me one moment. I believe it was, but let me double check. Yes, it is.
And so this time of 21 minutes after midnight, but at the same time that the cell tower logs say that they stop receiving data from the phone.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to move on to a different topic. These shutdowns that we have here, including both shutdowns on May 21st, these are, and this on April 28th, these are manual shutdowns and not battery death shutdowns, correct?
Correct.
So, one more topic and wrap it up. We could get our defense KK again. So, I just wanted clarification. There was that thing about the UC Davis website, going to that. That activity, that was on the MacBook and not on the phone, correct?
Correct.
And so when we're talking about location data and power off data, that's all phone, and the web surfing stuff is on a different device altogether. It's a MacBook.
That's correct.
So from Defense KK, I'll just put that on the screen real quick. So I'm going to ask you a question about this browser data that was talked about on your direct. So at the top we have these advising appointment creations. Do you see that?
Yes.
And towards the bottom, the bottom two entries, we have something labeled scheduled order. Do you see that?
Yes.
And so is this browser activity consistent with booking the advising appointment and then going forward and then going to the scheduled order?
It seems like it, yes.
And then lastly, there was, so this image then is another cache image that we're talking about, this kind of picture of the memorial, correct?
Yes.
And so this is like the Amazon data where it's something that would have been loaded into the web page, but because we don't necessarily, without being there and looking at what the person's seeing, you can never really know what the person's seeing, right?
Yes, that's true.
But it's an image that the computer pulled up when the person visited that web page.
Yes.
Nothing.
Okay, that concludes cross-examination. Mr. Hutchinson, any other?
Sir, do you have Mr. Kamada's supplemental report with you today? Or did you bring it with you today?
I did.
Could you get that out if you have?
I believe it's what I'm holding, which is 45D.
Okay.
And is that, looking at the report, does that include the power on summaries and the cell phone location data?
Yes, it does.
And what is the date of that report, sir?
It is April 18th of 2025.
Sir, as former attorney, are you familiar with the term late discovery?
Objection.
Sustained.
I'd like you to assume that this trial was scheduled to begin on April 28th. Can you assume that fact?
Sure.
So the date of that report, how many days before trial would that be?
10 days.
And sir, sometimes when an attorney gets discovery 10 days before trial, in your experience, do they have to find an expert on an expedited basis?
Objection. Foundation. Circulation.
Yes, I've made those calls and I have received those calls.
Do you know what date you were retained by my office?
I don't recall exactly. I remember it was very soon before you were supposed to be starting trial, but I don't remember the exact date.
Now, the prosecutor is referencing a report, like a formal report. Did you have time to write a formal report in this case?
No, I was trying to get results out as quickly as possible, as I knew trial at that point had either already started or was about to. I wrote an email with some preliminary findings. I also put a caveat in that email saying I have not had a chance to fully investigate all of these and have these peer reviewed by other examiners in my office, which is something we would normally do before drafting a formal report.
And these emails that you sent me, did I tell you who I would forward those emails to?
Yes, you informed me they would be forwarded to the prosecution.
Sir, were you working on your analysis? What dates were you actually doing the analysis when you're looking at the data and arriving at your findings? Do you recall what day you started that?
It was immediately upon receiving the data. I don't remember the exact date. And then I believe that first email with preliminary findings was May 1st. I think we did it all within the span of about a week and a half at most.
So again, assuming this trial began on April 28th, you were still doing your analysis while this trial was ongoing.
That's correct.
And was your initial understanding of what data Mr. Kamada was relying on with respect to the location at Sycamore Park on April 27th and April 28th, did that change as you got more information?
Yes, it did.
And did you revise your opinion?
Yes, I did.
And this PowerPoint that we showed, when did you prepare the first draft of this PowerPoint?
So there was an initial draft around that time of May 1st. There was another draft, I want to say maybe a week later or something. It was shortly after Mr. Kamada testified.
Okay. Did I ask you to, for purpose of clarification only, make some changes to the PowerPoint to show which events were battery dying and which events were power off?
Yes.
Is that why you added those asterisks?
Yes, it is.
But were those just for clarification? Were there any substantive changes?
To that portion, no. There was a mistake on another slide that was also cleaned up.
Today, the prosecutor referenced a new report. Did you make a single correction to the PowerPoint this morning?
Yes, I removed an incorrect statement on one of the slides so that it wasn't going to be shown today, as it was a mistake on that PowerPoint.
And the PowerPoint had indicated the power off event on April 28th, 2023 at 12:21 a.m. was a battery dying, correct?
That was the mistake that we cleared up.
Okay.
Yes.
And that was not your finding. That was just a typographical error in the PowerPoint, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And did you correct that?
I did.
Other than that, was there any modification you made today to that PowerPoint?
I added the slide that showed the location data for April 30th that just showed the phone had not moved that day. Those were the only two changes that were made today.
And sir, with respect to the April 20, excuse me, the May 2nd power on events, how many power on events were there?
There was 20 power on events in a row.
And so are you disputing that the phone was off for a substantial portion of May 2nd?
No.
Do you agree with Mr. Kamada in that regard?
Yes, I do.
But do you think the specific power on events in the extraction are reliable?
No, that 20 in a row of power on would indicate there is some problem with that data. So I don't think you should rely on those power on events on May 2nd.
Nothing further, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vanderbilt. Any follow-up?
I just have a brief question. So regarding May 2nd, 2025, the power off events though, reliable?
They match up with the AT&T data. I still worry about relying on the data from the phone for May 2nd because of that 20 power on events in a row.
And for the location data that was revised between reports, can you say now whether the phone was at Sycamore Park on the evening of April 27th going into April 28th?
There is one location point on April 27th that fits pretty squarely within the park. The morning of April 28th, there are many more that are potentially in or nearby, very close by the park when you account for that accuracy estimate.
And by many you mean there's more than 50?
I don't recall the exact number. That sounds about right.
And those location points go from midnight to about 21 minutes after midnight?
Approximately, yes.
And so the phone is still reporting that it's at or near the park at the time that it's powered off that day?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Okay. All right. Last question.
Sir, can the AT&T records tell you whether the phone on May 2nd was manually powered off or powered it off due to battery dying?
The AT&T records only tell us that the phone stopped communicating with the tower. It does not tell us why that communication stopped.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Okay. All right. All right, Mr. Chase, thank you for your testimony. Thank you for your patience with me, and have a great day.
Thank you.
All right. And so then, Mr. Hutchinson.
I'm going to call Sergeant Muscardini.
Sergeant Muscardini. Let's get the witness back. And I'm going to stand up and stretch. Feel free to join me. Thank you. Off record. Muscardini is in the witness stand.
I'm just going to resume playing the video at 11:11 p.m.
Okay.
Or you can perhaps take a 5-minute break. I'm sorry, I don't know why it's not injected now.
Well, I don't know about 5 minutes, but off the record, yeah, that's all right. Let's get sorted.
I had to take care of some things, so matter of fact, John, it's finding it a little bit easier to talk. We talked about a couple things. The first guy in the park, right? Remember something like that?
Yeah.
Not something like that, the second guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what's a little bit better about it was he thought it was kind of a little more at ease. Thought things would come out a little bit sooner or a little bit easier. So I'm gonna take care. I'll come back and check with you guys a little bit, all right? Oh yeah, I'll grab it.
How you doing, John? Doing okay? So I'm not sure where my partner left off. Can you tell me about that? You said that you stabbed this guy a bunch of times. No, I didn't stab him. You didn't stab him? No. Okay.
So if you weren't watching, when you left, were you watching through the window?
I was not.
So when you told Mr. Dominguez, you said you stabbed the guy a bunch of times, what was the source of your information for that statement?
That information was given to me by Detective Ramos in the hallway before I went back in.
Why are you doing this? You just told him that you did. Do you just not want to tell me? Because if you told him, I don't know why now you're saying that you didn't.
Yeah. When we talked about it, we both said that, they were done with all messing around with garbage, right? We finished that and we said move on. There was nothing. We could go back. What's done is done. It's time to move on, move forward. Showed some pictures of his house, the blood and different things in there. I don't know about somebody who saw him at the park for the second one. Also, what else did I tell you? Or did you know, or what else did we talk about? John, what else did we talk about?
Just about the, like, places and the crime and...
First one, he said he sat in the park, in Central Park for a couple hours. I don't know what words you're about, that's what we talked about, right?
Yeah, I wasn't like there. So we talked about about the park and how about the day and the different times.
Yeah. He said it's about 10 o'clock for Central Park. He showed me with the pen how he was holding his knife.
How were you, sorry, I'm gonna get you off.
Oh, sorry.
How were you holding the pen, oh my gosh. How were you holding the knife here? Can you show me? Well, I wasn't holding it, but, you were holding the knife like that at this park? So why are you holding the pen like that then? Because that's how I hold the knife. That's how you hold the knife? Yeah. And what did you do with the knife? At this party? To this man? That you didn't know? I didn't do anything. So, John, what do you mean you didn't do anything? You just said you were holding this knife at the park like this.
And just clarify to back up a little bit. You told me that you didn't have an exact number, you just knew you stabbed that guy a lot. Those are your words. At Central Park, you gave me an estimate of 40. Anything?
Thanks. John. How many times did you stab this guy? You just told my partner you did. So you don't want to tell me or what? You told my partner. So let's take these out. So now we just focus on taking more blood. You even told me how you held the knife. Was it like this? Yeah. So how did you stab him like this? I didn't stab him. What did you do to him? I didn't. Why are you lying to me? You just told him that you did. I didn't. John, let's stop playing the game. And so you're playing this game. Why are we playing the game? I'm not sure. Okay. Tell me about the bike that you took after. You're seen on camera, so tell me about why you took the bike. Was it to get away? I didn't take the bike. You didn't? John, you did it. You took the guy's bike after you stabbed him to death. Do you remember what you told the guy that came up to you? To see what happened? Do you remember what you told him? No. Did you say something to him? No. Yes, you did. You said, leave me alone. Do you remember saying that? No, I don't. Okay, John. I don't know why now you're not being honest. You talked about this one with my partner. You talked partially about this one. You just feel more comfortable talking to him? No. So tell me about this. You say you were holding a knife. You were at this park, and a guy died. You don't know how many times you stabbed him? No, I didn't stab him. Yes, you did. You just told my partner you stabbed this guy. John, you just told my partner you stabbed this guy. Hello? Do you hear me? Yeah. I didn't take the bike or anything. You did? But you knew there was a bike there. What do you mean you didn't take the bike? I don't think you meant to take the bike. No, I didn't. I didn't have a bike with me. I know. You took his bike. The person that you killed here in the park was riding a bike. And when you got confronted by someone, you took his bike and you fled. I know exactly your path of travel. You crossed this little, right here. And you crossed, you were right here along these houses. You killed him. You took his bike. You crossed this bridge, which went over the freeway. You came this way on the bike path, or on the street, and you left the bike there. And then you left from there. Is that true? No. Yes, it is. Stop lying. Okay. Well, it's not true. You didn't take his bike? No, I didn't. So who took his bike? I wouldn't know. You wouldn't know? No. Because it was you? No, I didn't. So why were you in this park holding a knife like this? John, why were you in the park holding a knife like this? You do know. Why were you in the park holding a knife like this? John, why were you holding a knife like this in the park? I'm not sure. What do you mean you're not sure? So you were in the park holding a knife? I was at the park, but I wasn't holding the knife. You just showed me. You were holding it like this. Let's stop lying. It's not my first day. Did this person that you stabbed to death do anything to you? him if you didn't? You were in the park with a knife. You told my partner that you stabbed him numerous times. So why are you changing your mind now?
I'm not changing.
You're not. You told my partner that you stabbed this guy. Why did you tell him that, and now you're telling me that you didn't? John? I'm not here to judge you. So whatever you tell me you stabbed this guy 20 times, I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to find out exactly what you did.
Yeah, I didn't.
See, but you stabbed this guy.
No.
Well, why did you tell my partner you stabbed this guy 40 times?
So you keep referencing what he told your partner. You've heard him say that multiple times now,
Yes.
and you had not, your only source of what he had told your partner was the word of Steve Ramos, correct?
Correct.
Did it ever occur to you at any point that perhaps what Mr. Ramos told you was not accurate?
I didn't think of it at the time, no.
I didn't.
You didn't tell my partner that?
I didn't stab him, but,
But why did you tell my partner you did?
I'm not sure.
John, why did you tell my partner that you stabbed him? John, why did you tell my partner that you stabbed him at Central Park? Is he lying?
No,
Are you lying?
no.
Okay. Why? John, why? Why did you do all this? And don't say I didn't do this. Why did you do all this?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure why you did it?
No,
You know what?
no, I'm not sure.
You're not sure about what?
About what you're trying to say.
What do you mean you're not sure about it?
Because I didn't let him stab me or anything.
You just told my partner you did it. So why are you telling me that you didn't? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't make sense. You think you're gonna disappoint me?
No.
Do you feel like you're gonna be embarrassed?
No.
So why not tell me the truth? Yeah. You were in this park at the same time that someone was killed. And you just told me that you were in the park with a knife holding it like this. Can you explain that?
No.
Tell me what happened, from start to finish. When did you decide to go to the park and look for someone to kill? What time? John, what time did you decide? That day?
No, I was just, I went to the park and I was just finding the distance and I just went back. That's about it.
You're lying. Hey John, why did you tell my partner you stabbed this guy? And now you're telling me you didn't.
Because I didn't.
Because you did? didn't, but you told him he did. Hello? You just don't want to tell me?
No, I'm not sure.
You're not sure what to say? You realize they have, like, stuff at your house that we're going over to get right now, right? Evidence? What would your family want you to do? Would they want you to be honest?
Yeah.
Who would want you to be honest the most? Your grandma?
Yeah. I'll say,
Your mom? Your siblings?
myself.
You want to be honest for yourself?
Yeah.
So just be honest. Be honest, John. Be honest to yourself. John. What happened? Tell me what happened, John. And don't tell me that you went to the park and then you went home and nothing happened in between.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
No.
I think you are sure. You know exactly what happened. You may not know how many times you stabbed this person. But it was a lot. How many times do you think you stabbed him?
I'm not sure.
How many times do you think? Was it 10?
No.
20?
No.
30?
No.
40?
No.
Was it more than 40 times?
No, I didn't.
The continuous lying does not, it's not really, it's not a good thing. You've been honest somewhat. You said you killed him. Why won't you say that you killed him? What's the difference? What do you?
I think I killed him.
You stabbed him a whole lot of times. You cut him, stabbed him, whatever you want to call it. Did you not? You did. And I think it all comes back to school and family. I think you're kind of getting kicked out of school, disappointing your family, and you thought maybe you could show the world what you're capable of. John, do you hear me?
Yeah.
What do you have to say about it? And don't say you don't know, because you do. You remember every detail. Were you already in the park when he came up on a bike? How long were you in the park before he came up on a bike?
I'm not sure.
5 minutes? 10 minutes? An hour?
No.
How long? What's your guess? What's your best guess? 30 minutes? Okay. Where were you at in the park before you rode on a bike? Were you in the tree?
No, I was just sitting at the play structure.
You're standing at the play structure?
Well, like I was just by the,
And then you saw him come by on his bike?
no, I didn't see him. I was showing him,
You were what?
I was just sitting at the play structure.
At what time was that?
I'm not sure. Like,
Stop lying. It's not gonna help you. I'm not here to help you, but that's not gonna help your feeling better about yourself. So you're at the play structure at what time?
I don't remember.
8:30?
No.
9?
No. Like, I was there for, maybe like a little earlier.
So like 8 o'clock?
Maybe.
So you're at this play structure on Saturday at 8 o'clock at night.
No, I'm pretty sure I wasn't there Saturday. But
What day were you there?
I can't recall. I'm not sure.
Okay, so what happened after you're at the park, at the playground, the guy rides up on a bike, do you push him off the bike? Did you kick him off the bike?
No.
Was he walking the bike?
No.
Tell me what happened. I don't want to keep putting words in your mouth. Just tell me what happened with the guy on the bike.
I'm not sure.
What do you mean you're not sure? You completely know what he did. You just told him that you stabbed him, you didn't know how much. Do you want to tell him and not me? Because I can go get him.
No.
No? How many times did you stab already in the tent?
I didn't stop.
Okay. Alright, I think we're done here. If you don't want to tell the truth, that's fine. Why don't you just be honest? John, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Why don't you just be honest? No more lies. Why won't you just be honest with me? I've been straightforward with you, right?
Yeah.
So why won't you be honest with me?
Why?
You're not. I'm probably the one person that you can tell that's not going to judge you. You're going to sit in front of a jury and they're going to determine what happens. And you're not being honest. Honesty sometimes goes a long way. Yeah, we were just talking, I'm not exactly sure what he had mentioned to you, but he said that he was at the play structure. He said 30 minutes before the guy came through the park, but then said he couldn't remember what night, and denied all that, like what happened to him. So, and denied the other one. So he's not being honest with me, so I don't have any other questions.
So,
Did you want me to leave, John?
What?
I want to tell you something. I don't want you to think long and hard about it. How would you feel if I told you that you're under arrest? You ever been arrested before?
No.
Yeah. So I guess it's a week full of firsts for all of us, huh? First time you killed somebody? At least that part we're being honest about? Or are we going to find more people?
No, I didn't kill anyone.
Okay. We were under arrest for murder. Do you comprehend what that means?
No.
Okay, well, look at me. Remember, you're a smart guy. You are under arrest for first-degree murder. Do you understand what that means?
No.
Okay, well, I'll explain. It means that it carries a sentence of anywhere between life and death. You could be sentenced to death for this. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Pretty big deal, right?
Yeah.
I already saw all the blood on your knife. I already know what's going to come back to you. I just want to know if it's coming back to more than the 3 people that we already talked about. Are there more? John, are there more?
No.
Have you ever done some telephone before? Or anywhere else?
No.
How many people total have you stabbed?
I haven't stabbed anyone.
Oh, we're going back to that. Okay. So let me just explain what's going to happen now. You're going to stay here. We're going to bring in some guys like I told you before. Take some pictures. Take some swabs. Take your clothes. And then we're going to take you to jail. Understand that?
Yeah.
Do you care?
Yeah.
What part of that bothers you?
I'll say, like, what could have happened, what
Like
what
what?
happened.
Like what?
Like, what could have happened. I wasn't here, I could have been doing like pose somewhere else.
Look at me. I want to ask you a very simple question. I want you to be honest. Be honest with me. Be honest with yourself. Are you sorry?
No.
I didn't think you would be, but I was hoping that you would.
Okay, counsel.
You understand what remorse means?
No.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah, I know you got more.
I just wanted,
You
One more minute, perhaps?
No, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. Hang on. Okay. Do you wanna resume the, first thing in the morning?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, Sergeant Muscardini, we need you, back to finish this. Mr. Hutchinson, can you summarize for me this exhibit on the time? We're past the 6 hours, is that right?
It ends at 1:04. So
At
we have-
1:04?
We have 1 hour and 22 minutes to go.
Okay,
He has a conflict tomorrow morning, Your Honor, so if we could just play without him and he could go back at a later time, I have no objection to that.
1 hour and 22 minutes. That's what you have left?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, stipulate?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And he'll be, we'll get him back at another time?
Yes. that's
Okay,
all.
parties will meet and confer on that?
Yes.
Okay, great, all right. Sergeant, thank you for your testimony today, I appreciate that, and we'll see you back when they agree to the time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, thank you for your work today and your patience with the court, and so we'll be back and resume at the same time tomorrow. Remember your three-part admonition. You know, Deputy, maybe we'll get some the large rubber bands and they can wrap the notepads in them too if they want tomorrow. So don't discuss the substance of this case. Don't form any hard opinions about anything, and don't research the case. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, folks. Off the record.